You want to listen to a podcast?
By who?
Georgia GOP Congressman Doug Collins.
How is it?
The greatest thing I have ever heard in my whole life.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Doug Collins Podcast. You know, last week we signed off with Salem, who had been with for a long time platform. We wish them best, but hey, we're now on our own. We're independent. We're free. We do what we want to do. Hey, it's going to be fun. And as we go forward, we'll probably be adding some different takes. We're going to do some live stuff. We're going to do some just different things that we've been wanting to do. As we go forward, and and who knows, maybe somebody will want to sponsor us one day, as we go forward. But right now, we're not worried about that. We're just worried about actually getting out some of the best material, best content, best folks that we can to give you the material that you need. Now, look, if you've got us now, that means you found us. You can find us on all the platforms. Again, this is where we're going to be. We're going to be updating the website. That'll be coming for along in a little bit. You can still try right now and get through to us at the DougCollinsPodcast.com. Hit that email button. Should be able to still get that. So we're working that out. A few kinks in the system, but hey, James and I got it worked out. We'll take care of it. So this is Thursday. We're going to get ready for a long day. It's been a long night right now in Florida. We want to remember all of those that are fighting with Hurricane Milton and the people down there. And I have family in the way of this, so it is very personal for me as well. But I do want to hit a few things that's been going on in the political world since last time we spoke. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll come right back and dive into it right now. We're back here. And let's just go over a few things. One, I wanted to get this podcast up because I had many of you ask about what's next. Well, what next is we're just going to be having the podcast. We're still going to do some times with friends that we've made. James and Chip will be joining me along the way. Right now, we're probably going to only be doing about one podcast a week. We'll do some live stuff. So if you're not following me on at Rep Doug Collins on Twitter or Doug Collins GA on Instagram, or if you're following us on YouTube or Rumble, find us there. We're going to be doing some live stuff just to keep you with everything going right now. Everything is speeding along as we go into the last 4 weeks of this campaign cycle. We want you to be informed, but we're going to give you a podcast. And then later on, we probably will bring back some old friends. Like I said, Friday's Finest, and also a little bit of a twist as we go, because I want you to have the best information and the best stuff to take with you each and every day. So let's really just dive into the last little bit. I will just point blank say, look, Vice President Harris is having a tough time right now. And it's coming in the sense of the things that are her weaknesses that we've all known. There's been a transformation, and we've talked about it here on the podcast, but I got to bring it up because over the last few days, you've seen the media start making a big deal of the fact that she went on a podcast. She went on 60 Minutes, which, by the way, then 60 Minutes edited, which I have no idea how 60 Minutes is going to get away without an FEC, a Federal Election Commission violation for in-kind contribution. They took her word salads and tried to make it into a proper salad. And, you can't do that. It's one thing if they'd have just let the interview go, but by actually taking it and editing it and making the candidate or the interviewee look good. In my mind, in a political campaign, that's the same thing as a political ad, which means that CBS is basically running an in-kind contribution for the Harris Walz campaign. Now, you can say I'm wrong. You can get mad at me. You can do whatever you want to do. I don't really care because this is what we're seeing coming out of this administration. She cannot function without a teleprompter. Now, just recently, and they had just a few days ago, she was giving a speech. The teleprompter broke, and I kid you not, it's on our Twitter. It's on a lot of places, social media. She was broken for over a minute. She didn't know what to say. It was 32 more days, and we're going to. I mean, she could not function without a teleprompter. And this is what's right now. 50% of the American folks are saying that they're siding with her to be the leader of the United States of America. Have we give up? I mean, look, there are Democrats that I may not like, that I don't want, I would not ever vote for, but there's competency that has to be in a factor here. And right now, Harris is just not showing the competency factor. I mean, this is a struggle. This is a real struggle. And if we can't make this clear, and I know there's people out there saying, well, I don't like Trump and Trump's mean tweets. Well, do you like the economy where it's at? Do you like the world situation where it's at? Do you like a candidate who was never voted on by the Democratic Party, who's now their nominee, who cannot seem to hold it together to give coherent answers about anything running the country? How is she going to function in the White House? How is she going to function when Iran tries to take out Israel once and for all? How will she function, with any of the world leadership who will just do whatever they want to do, knowing she can't string together two sentences at times in a coherent manner? I don't care if you've got policies I disagree with. That's fine. That's what this country's about. What I do care is that you don't know what you're talking about. I mean, it's one thing to lay out a liberal policy agenda. It's one thing to say, I want to, socialize medicine. I want to, take over big corporations. I want to make sure that they're broken down. I want to tax the billionaires into oblivion, although at the end of the day, that would actually end up hurting everybody else. I want to, do all these things she, implies she wants to do. That's one thing. But when she can't explain it, and this week, folks, again, here we go. She gets on an interview on The View. Now, for those who remember my days back in radio, we used to have a section set aside for The View and the worldly wisdom of The View, and we would be amazed at the wisdom of The View. In fact, we may bring that back. Who knows? We may live broadcast. We may live counter program The View one day just to watch it happen. But she went on The View. Now, this is a very safe space for those who may be so inclined to have safe spaces for Vice President Harris. She should not have to worry. They'll all gather around her. They'll give her hugs. They'll give her softball questions. They will not challenge her in any way. And then Sonny Hostin, I believe it was, gave her the ultimate softball. Well, would you change anything in the last 4 years with Joe Biden? Now, remember, this is the person who's running on a campaign slogan of a different direction, moving in a new direction, getting away from the past, unshackled by what was left behind and moving on, whatever it may be. But she's changing as I'm the change candidate. And she said, no, not really. This is an actual answer. The real Democratic Party folks, and campaign folks and staff have got to be just borderline, just running on fumes, and can't believe that this is what they have to work with. So just a little bit later, after The View, which is again very, very simple safe space, she goes on Stephen Colbert, another completely cotton line safe space, puffy pillows, no problem, everything should be wonderful. He gives her the opportunity to clean up the mess, to get back on track. She's had a few hours. I'm sure her campaign folks had helped. And she goes into this couple of minute just rambling discussion of unicorns and butterflies and opportunity economies. And I'm different. But she starts off by saying, well, I'm different. I'm not Joe Biden. Well, I thought that was at least interesting. At least she acknowledged that there's a difference between her and Joe Biden, that there's a male and a female. Maybe that's the best thing that we could get out of this whole thing. She at least recognizes there were differences. But again, on her campaign, if you were communications on her campaign, you would just, strong sweet tea is not good enough to maintain it. She cannot stay on message. And I say all of this to simply say there have been a lot of people who have trouble speaking, who have been great leaders. She's shown no leadership. She's never been put in a position to really lead. When she was given the chance to deal with the border, she failed it. When she was given, many of the former presidents gave the vice president the duty of overseeing disasters and things like that. Biden never even did that to her. She doesn't, really have a good grasp on what's going on with the mechanisms of government. So again, this is where we're at. But when you're dealing with the media, you're dealing with the folks that are giving you the message they want you to hear, you've got to dig deeper. So, folks, as we go along in this campaign, look, Donald Trump is out. He's back in 2016 mode, it appears. I think his focus has been much better in his speeches. The Butler, Pennsylvania, going back to Butler, Pennsylvania was just amazing. I mean, they were close. They were well over 80,000 people there. His speech was focused. It was one of the more patriotic events that you'll ever want to see. And so these are the things that, you know, he needs to continue to focus on, because right now there is enough out there. People, you know, her own words are her worst enemy. She is her biggest opponent at this point. But remember, it's not just her. It's all of the mainstream news organizations: CBS, NBC, ABC, MSNBC, New York Times, Washington Post, Los Angeles Times. All of them are giving the most ground cover that I've ever seen given to any candidate or anybody ever, because they're completely invested after they helped depose Joe Biden to make sure that the person that they were claiming in May was irrelevant, not even a choice to take over if Joe Biden were to get out, not the nominee. They were mentioning Whitmer. They were mentioning Pritzker. They were mentioning Newsom. They were mentioning everybody in the world except Vice President Harris. And then to go from someone nobody wanted to the one that everybody now on the mainstream media side believes is the greatest candidate ever to be found is really where we're at right now. So, look, lots to keep up with. That's why we're keeping the podcast going. That's why we're going to have these. We'll have some guests probably. We'll have some other stuff going. But I need you to focus in to get you back where we're at. We're going to be on all the platforms. Anywhere you get the podcast, you'll still be able to get it. So we want you out there, but also still make sure that you're paying attention to your Twitter feed at Rep Doug Collins. You got Instagram, Doug Collins GA. There's a lot out there that we're going to be getting to you as we expand this podcast reach and base to make sure that we're getting you the information that you need. But please tell your friends that we're back. We're ready to go. And this will be a fun time as we get to just try some things that we have not had a chance to try in the past, and are looking forward to being here with you. So the Doug Collins New Generation, this podcast 1 is in the books. We wanted to keep it short, but we wanted to get you out there. Please be in prayer for those that are suffering right now in Florida and Georgia and North Carolina through these hurricanes. It has been a terrible time and currently still going on in Florida. Please keep them in your prayers and thoughts as we move throughout this day. So until then, watch for the alerts. Tell everybody that we're back, and we'll see you next time.